I'll clear it.
You know what I
I'll
mean?
clear it.
People are working.
It's there.
See that Christmas tree in the yard over there?
That wasn't done. Next to Texas.
They even have lights on.
All rise, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to say Happy New Year to everybody. Sorry about my attire. I kind of fell and put my pants on. Have a little bit of pain, but let's get through this quick. It's on TV. Let's go. All right, Douglas, you're up, sir.
So we're working through the tapping piece of it. We have some things on our end. We're compiling the actual projects of the sewer work that the borough has done over the last 20 to 30 years, providing those costs, tabulating them. We're going to need to understand the sewer debt, because we can't charge for a project as an asset if we have sewer debt on it. So every sewer debt dollar has to be subtracted from the asset itself. So
is it still a feasible thing for us to do?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It's just a matter of, getting the numbers.
With all due respect, I mean, council, I think you're comfortable letting Doug do what he got to do, correct?
Yeah, we're close.
What's that like in a parole, Doug?
What's that?
And would that be like a parole from last year's stuff?
Yeah, so really all it is taking all the actual sewer projects.
Right.
And then the ones we don't know, we can estimate. That's the way it's allowed to. We take all those assets, we subtract off the debt, and then we divide through by the flow numbers that it supports. And then you get $1 per flow number. And that's your top thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, yeah, at the December meeting, I let everybody know that we cleaned the sewer along this side here, and then in the back, halfway. And it was really pretty backed up. So we're going to have the cleaning company, the sewer cleaning company, do the other half in the back and then McKees Street, so that when we get to spring and summer rains, we have a much better chance of getting that all to pass through and not back up on us. And I think that work's going to be scheduled for next week.
That's storm sewer.
That's our sanitary. It's a combined system. So it's both storm and sanitary. Yeah. And then we're working with Westview Water. You're probably aware that Westview Water is replacing the water lines throughout the community. We're making sure that when they, obviously they have their street opening permit, we're enforcing the street opening permit and the restoration of the roads. And they're not going to be done because paving isn't, hot mix isn't available at this point. So I just got done writing a letter and sent it out to the borough and to Westview Water yesterday. This is where you're at. You're here, you did this, you did this, you didn't do this, you didn't do this. So we keep counting, and so all of us remember when it comes April of what we did accept and what we don't accept. And I'm going to do that for the gas company as well.
So let's just make that clear that we do have a conversation. I know we have been letting everyone know we're having a conversation. They are going to finish it, make it drivable, make it walkable, make it everything. But they are coming back in the spring to redo that. Milling, repaving it, the whole nine, correct?
That's right.
Okay, everywhere we did, everywhere they did. Okay.
That's right.
That's the main thing, because we pay some money for that stuff, and we just want to make sure we get it done right.
Yeah. And just for general accounting, right?
Absolutely.
Who in Westview Water Authority is going to remember where they left off? They're not going to remember.
No, they're not. They're going to forget about it. And by the way, Hamilton Schools, that's May Avenue. Man, that bottom half looks great compared to what it was. They went hip from hip, and we took the bricks out instead of keeping them. I think we're going to go all the way up on that. I apologize for getting off course, but that is perfect. That's what we want.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Doesn't it,
Dave? It looks really good. It's very
even up above that, the concrete road that was
yes.
They did a nice job.
Yeah, they did. So, go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
Doug, are you still working with the water company?
Yeah.
Up on McKees Street, when you come to go, they were sisters next to each other. Well, the water line runs through their house and then over to his house now. You know, because he was cousin.
Oh.
And I said, we'll call the water company, because last year when they was doing snow, I called him up, I said, well, when you doing rock? He said, this year. So I said, call him, and he said, well, you'll have a water line to replace. Well, don't you think that they own a water line instead of going through the other house?
No, typically, that's the responsibility of payment from the owner of the property. Bring it, if they did something 40, 50, 100 years ago, where they made one service line for two customers, instead of having separate service lines for each customer, it's usually the responsibility of the business partners.
Right. Well, he ain't got no money, that's how it's shot. We can do anything about it.
And I will be ready for roads whenever you're ready.
Okay.
We all know the earlier we do that, the earlier
Yeah.
we can notify the gas company and the water company and everybody else so that they can figure out what they're doing.
Well, I'm gonna meet with the finance committee this week, and go over that, because I did hear that we're gonna be able to get some of that done. And I did explain to LeeAnn, like what you just said, it's kinda like, we gotta get everything rolling, we can't wait to do that, so.
You know, we're ahead of schedule, so that's good, but it's good to talk about it so that we're ready, that's all.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, thank you to them guys, because, I mean, that finance committee has been doing a great job.
When we pick the roads, we won't be doing any of the work until May, June.
That's right.
Yeah, we don't do it until, but you have to get everything set up.
Right.
The
So,
biggest
yeah.
deal is the notification of Westview Water Authority and the gas companies, so that if they need to get in ahead of us, they can.
Okay.
Not to get into a big conversation about it, but remember how we've been putting off Char-Tiers?
Yeah,
So, because Char-Tiers was one of like the real bad ones,
Yeah.
and we put that off because we said, okay, we're gonna do Thompson first, then we're gonna do Chambers, and we're gonna get some side roads. Was it you, or was it, I don't know if it was Craigie Myers, I think someone said that we couldn't do that because that was a state road?
no. Well, as we all know, Chartiers is a state road up until we get to under the trestle.
Okay,
And from that point, all the way back to 5 points, it's ours.
it's ours, okay. Okay, thank you. So that's maybe something we'll talk to council, if that's something we want to put pin our ears back and maybe look at that.
And I thought the borough's strategy with that was that we have a grant application
Yes.
with Kimmy
Yeah, okay.
on getting that portion done.
Right.
Okay, that's even better.
And
That's
so,
you're right.
and so like if we get that this year, that grant award, and we got Chartiers tackled.
Well, you know what? I forgot about that, so I do apologize. But that's right. We put in for a grant for it. Okay, that's even better. Even better. Anything else?
Thank you very much.
No, thank you. Thank you. All right, Finance Administrative Committee, we have a resignation of employee number 301, effective date of 1/3/25. Public Safety Committee, Evolis Vision Radar for speed limits. Presenter Mrs. Holland, she is not here today. Do you have anything that I can present for that, or?
She sent an email to everyone just
Okay.
asking, based on, I guess, if chief is okay with it, if he thinks it's a good idea to get a quote through CoStars to see how much they would cost for purchase for the borough.
Okay. Okay, so everyone got an email. Please look at it for next Tuesday, if you don't mind.
Is that the blinking?
These guys.
Yeah.
Is that the one
Yeah.
like on Washington Street?
Yeah,
That was a movie.
They have one print right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, here.
Yeah, they're pretty slick, actually.
So,
Parks and Recreation, nothing. Real estate, I think we're gonna have something on the docket next week. Over a couple things, I believe. Did you finish the things that we talked about on the phone with the, I have to get something signed for you. Okay, I have to get that signed. I'm sorry, guys. And, we're done with the one up in college. Okay, so we'll have a better go ahead.
Yeah, so we have a bunch of property donations that are coming over a finish line. So we have one, we have on college that the deed was recorded in your name in December. I have one that we're gonna work on to get executed now. I think that's on Broadway. There's a number of other ones that are, like, if we've done all the steps, the deeds are now sent to the donor to have them execute and for us to chase them a little bit, get them back. So my thought or my hope is to work with President Brinza and the committee so that next month I have a list and you can start talking about how you want to
Pass
take
them
the,
on.
yeah, how you want to take the next steps. And I think there's been some talk about auctions you have a range of options available to you under the Borough Code to sell or to expose those properties for sale. So it's just kind of however you think the best way is to kind of move them along, to recycle them and get them in somebody's hands who will pay taxes and take care of them and
Absolutely.
redevelopment them.
So everyone knows that was the reason why we accept most of these. So because we feel that we have someone in line, and I believe, or I know we are doing it the right way. So if we do get it into someone's hands, we're doing it through the bidding process and the whole process. So we are doing it correct, just so everyone does know that.
I have someone Royal Street.
But yeah, I wanted to bring that up.
They've been hounding the county for over a year to buy the property, but they won't return the call.
It was actually the house that we tore down through a grant, okay? And this guy has been coming to Mr. Mixter for years saying that, hey, if we could get this. So the office turned him on to the county program. And it's literally been,
Yeah, you can call.
maybe, if you look at it on Road Show, we tore this house down
Yeah.
3 years ago. Maybe 2 years ago, I don't know what it was. But is there anything that we could do to step in and help this gentleman? Like maybe get, I don't know. We'll look into that after this, but that was.
Maybe we can just help connect him to the right person or.
I actually called the county foreman. It didn't do nothing. It did nothing. They said, okay, we'll get back to you. And they haven't called me. It's not the only
So
property
maybe it's just
either.
a matter of like capacity.
We have the impression that that office is only open on Wednesdays.
Really?
When we went through ours.
How long did it take you?
I don't know
It
what
took
that
way
man.
longer than it should have. It took almost 2 years. Now, there were other things that kind of tripped in the way a little bit at the beginning, if you remember, but by and large, I'm doubting that office is populated with, tons of
Right.
people banging on teletype. They're
How long ago was that, Mayor, when you?
I'll find out.
Ballpark, 'cause
I'll have better information for you. I don't
I know,
know.
I mean, even years ago, it takes forever. I know Mr. Gregory went through that vacant lot program. It took him 4 years to get what he wanted.
Well, if there's any way we
That
can
was
help
like
this family,
12 years ago too. Easy.
Who's responsible for that office?
It's a bureaucracy system. You gotta fill out paperwork and it goes to the economic development. From there, it goes to like all these other channels. They should actually, the county would be smart and just have a auction or a bid for these properties. So they get on the rolls within a business 2 or day with an attorney, and you can have this additional vacant lot or whatever. But they're not together down here.
all right, well, let's just, me and Mr. Mixter, if you can reach out to him again, see where it's at, and then I can bring it to Megan and just see if we can maybe ask whoever owns this property, if someone does own it, to get it, or whatever we can do. Next thing, Public Works Committee. So I met with a gentleman from a company. I don't have the name on it. Ryan has it. It was actually to replace, we use a lot of coal patch. We use a ton of coal patch. And coal patch, I don't know if you guys know, but you put it in and it comes out. And it comes out.
Right.
So Ryan, on his own, tried to look for different things, and he ran into this guy. You're going to laugh. It's called Pothole Pillow. And they did a demonstration, and it's actually really slick. It really is. It's there's 2 different sizes. So right now we're in a trial. We're in a trial period. It's like $800, $800 and some dollars for a set of 5. They come in one size and they form fit to your pothole. And there's like a larger one. We didn't get into them. We just got the smaller ones. But we took it down by Rangersville where all them trucks come. And we put them there on Friday, and they're still there. We only put them in 2 spots, and they were like pretty decent holes. So I don't know. I mean, we can look into it a lot more. It is kind of, I didn't think that it was going to work, but it looks like it's working. So now it gets us through the winter. Like that's not like a permanent.
Sure.
That's not like a permanent thing. It gets us through the winter. Like LeeAnn, I had LeeAnn look up. I think we spent $6,000 the last couple months on a cool patch. Like I said, the cool patch comes in, comes out.
Yeah.
So it's one of them things that if we could get away from that little cost, maybe spending $1,000 or $2 on these pothole pillows might not be a bad idea. So I'll have a little bit more information in some pamphlets on Tuesday.
Are they reusable?
So yes, you could put, they're made out of a tank. It's pretty, it is like pretty cool. I went to grab it and I was like, holy crap, like it's not like real light. I'm not gonna explain it, I'll have material because I'm gonna sound stupid. I'm gonna sound very stupid because I went into this thinking like, yeah, okay, this is good. Yeah, but it was actually pretty cool, and I think it's something maybe we can put a couple bucks into it. It's no harm, no foul. Like I said, right now we're into a trial period, to where if we don't like them, we don't have to buy them. But okay, that was that. Borough Association, Mr. Myers.
Nothing to report on, sir.
Cog, Mrs. Holland's not here. Joe, do you have anything?
No.
Okay, Borough Development, she's not here. Codification Committee, General Code Final Draft. I just want to say to Vince and everyone involved, obviously, LeeAnn, man, that's a lot of work you guys put into it. Michelle and Megan, that's a lot of work you guys put into it. So I did talk to a couple council members today, and they wanted, to still read up on this stuff. So LeeAnn is making copies. Anyone that wants it. Just so you know, our attorneys have read all of that, and we can entrust into you. But we do have some council members, myself included, wanted to read it over. So LeeAnn is going to make all this stuff. I believe that's going to be up for a vote in February or January. Did you want to? I forgot what you said today.
So here's what we're asking today, and why it's on the agenda.
Yes.
This is a project that we've taken on two to 3 years. It is basically cleaning up our code.
Yes.
General Code, the company General Code, come in, clean up our code, put it in order, making it such that the public can view it online and so can we.
Gotcha.
And that's basically what it is. Now, what that did is took a lot of them that were scattered throughout and said this and said that and kind of did the things that contradict, took those contradictions out. And that's how we cleaned it up. We didn't change, we didn't go into the code. We didn't create any more code.
Okay, all right.
So the link was sent to each of you so you can take a look at this final draft that's going to end up being.
But I had asked LeeAnn to make a print for a couple people. I don't like to read it off the computer. A couple other people, so we will have copies available when she's able to do
I
that.
left my office as it was in print mode, so it's trying to print one whole copy. It's 198 pages front and back.
Okay.
So that said, up for vote in February.
Well,
This is the final draft. We want to say to them, okay, go ahead, make this the final draft, and then we bring that before council to vote.
So all you're asking from us is to say, okay, to move forward for the final draft, then we see the final draft and we okay that.
Yes.
Okay,
It
yes.
still could be 2 to 3 months.
Oh, okay, so it's not like,
It's because what you're gonna, so you adopt the codification, which is all your ordinances, right? You do it by ordinance. So like there is an ordinance document like that usually general code puts together. And it says like, okay, this is the codification with whatever exceptions, if you have any exceptions. It doesn't affect your zoning ordinance, so just know that it will capture to the best of its ability. Usually it'll reprint your zoning ordinance, but there are no change, there's definitely no changes to your zoning ordinance, and zoning ordinances, as you know, have special adoption processes. So sometimes at the very end of doing all this stuff on all your other ordinances, then you try to pull together all of those zoning amendments that you've had since 1970 something, right? When that was first adopted. That's a different exercise. So if you're trying to figure out, where's that zoning thing? Okay, so zoning should still be in all of its component parts, and it probably is going to say, I'll have to look and see what they even say on the codification, if it even includes it. It might include your base one with notes that there have been a number of amendments to it. There are different ways the general code can signal that on zoning. So that's still something that to tackle, or that shouldn't be, if you're looking for pieces of that, it shouldn't be part of this. But everything else, it's in an order of some sort. The only time that I know of that that sometimes you'll have a new ordinance is if they say, hey, you fundamentally, you need an ordinance. I mean, some like baseline ordinance that they couldn't find. I don't think that was the case. I'll have that verified before I see you again and before you adopt it in its entirety. The only other place I do want to say, I made one change, and that was on the front end of your codification, I inserted some proposed language that allows you to issue a ticket for anything that you could issue fines for. So it allows you to issue a ticket first.
That's good.
And then if it's not paid, so I tried to create basically a ticketing ordinance that overlays all the rest. Doesn't change any of your other rights that it created the opportunity. So I want you to know that, because that is something different. When you run into that, you're like, I didn't know we had a ticketing thing. That I do specifically remember. It's probably about a year ago when we were looking at that section. But usually this exercise isn't about, you're right, it's not about changing all your ordinances. It's usually about just kind of pulling them together, tweaking them, standardizing different
So we can use
things.
them.
So you can use them so that they make sense. So you don't have a $10 fine over here and a $1,000 fine over in this one. Usually there's the language and the fines are usually standardized across all of them, so that creates predictability for the public and for you. So there's a couple places that, yes, you probably will see some minor, you might see some minor tweaks if you're looking at an existing ordinance, and then you're looking at the code section in this general code. It's probably in one of those. But if you see anything else that you have concerns about or questions, just give a high sign and we'll try to figure out what it is, or if you think something is missing that you thought would be in there that you don't see in there, just let us know. I mean, the borough did its very best to provide everything that it could find on the front end, which was a lot of material. So,
That's a lot of work, guys, and we really
yeah.
appreciate it.
You'll see when you go in there that it's very well organized and put together very, very well. So that's really what we want you to take a look at, because this is going to be what we present as our code to the public, us, everybody.
And then you can word searches to find the ordinances. That's where it gets real slick and really helpful to everyday stuff for both you
We're
as
moving up to the
elected.
25 cent.
Yeah.
This is good.
It'll look like other communities that you know that have these online. It's
Okay.
the same or a similar product.
Awesome. All right, so we understand now that it's not as rushed as I thought it was, kind of just going through.
We're just
So-
in step 3 of 4.
Steps
We're getting
4.
there. We're almost there.
But we all do have time to look at it and take our time with it. All right, thank you very much.
I have a quick question.
Yes,
As I asked you before, if there was 6 different ordinances concerning the same thing, the newest one eliminated the other 5.
It should. Anytime you see us have an ordinance and there's a repeal, we're doing it right, there's there's a paragraph at the end that says repealer. It'll say repealer. That says any prior inconsistent ordinances are repealed, or hereby repealed and replaced by this thing. So when general code's gone through, they've been looking to see okay, in this ordinance, was that repealer language there? And ultimately in your codification, just in case, again, there's a codification ordinance. It's like the framework that says we're adopting all these, all of our ordinances all at once, hereby is as presented. There's repealer language in that too. So so you shouldn't have any loose ends or things that don't connect.
Yeah, someone can't come back with one from 20 years ago and say, hey, this was in there.
Now,
No,
and that's
this one repealed it.
And that's the beauty of the codification, is even if by chance there was one random ordinance somewhere, which I don't think this is even possible, but wasn't in our ordinance books, well, whatever you adopt on the day of the codification, that's what we got. That is your fresh, clean starting point. And then you're free to amend just the way we amend ordinances, kind of from time to time from there. So once you see it in that form, you're like, well, I don't like that. I mean, I want to change something about that. Well, and then we change it. We send it to general code. They update it on the website, right? I mean, it's just you kind of have that platform going forward.
It's clean.
It's clean.
Well, thank you for that.
Yep.
Really appreciate it. Moving on to Borough Manager, Comcast, business internet upgrade quote.
Yes, so, right, in December, Comcast Business met with us.
Yes.
And they brought to our attention that they've been reviewing our accounts, and the police chief can also comment on this, that our internet service drops a lot here. And when I say a lot, obviously our phone systems and everything are internet-based here now. So our phones go down, the faxes go down, they lose connection at 911. When I'm at work, when it goes down, sometimes it's out 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and it goes back up. What I didn't know, apparently on the weekend more so, is when the internet goes down, they're out for like 3-4 hours. So the business rep came to us and said, hey, like, we pulled your data and you guys are losing connection a lot and for hours at a time. So they proposed this new internet connection, which I feel like it's like fiber optic from my understanding. It would be our sole connection, no one else would be on the line. And they said we would never lose connection, we would be up 100% of the time. Even when they're doing some type of maintenance or updates, we would still be up and moving. And they're proposing if we would go with this contract in front of you. Currently, we're paying $350 a month for the plan we're in. And the new connection proposal would increase to $569.07 a month. And that does include the upstairs connection as well. So the one thing I do want to note is when they met with us, they did say the installation of this costs about $15,000, and they will pay for the installation themselves. So we would,
Finance committee looked into it, I just looked at them, he said it's affordable, am I correct?
Correct. We're only gonna pay $2,350 more for this better system. And I hate to say never say never.
Yeah, right.
Never say never, but for the upgrade and for us not to go down, that does not only cover the police, that covers the office, that covers the whole building. And I think it would be well worth it.
Adiano.
So is that,
Why don't they take responsibility for
Yeah,
the
right.
bad signal that's coming in?
No, true. I mean, seriously.
well, and that's why I said, I'm like, is it just our building going down, or like network-wide? Because I said, like, if I reach out to my IT guy and say, like, hey, our internet's down, can you look into it, thinking, is it internal? He'll say to me, oh no, Comcast is down. Like, and they're saying it's because we're on this big platform of other people, and when they're doing maintenance and corrections and they have to take the network down, that's when we drop. But this new connection, we're on our own signal.
It just seems like you were paying $300 for something that you weren't getting all the time, like, and it was their fault.
$350 versus?
I
What
don't know, and chief, I mean,
we're in operation shutdown, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We can't get into our record system, we can't type reports, can't answer the phone, can't call anybody, can't get faxes. Literally, when the cable goes out, there's,
Well,
no paperwork being
I
done
think you get
whatsoever.
Verizon or something.
I think the change is the right thing to do.
but not necessarily with them. Is that
No.
what you're thinking?
Well, you can try somebody else, but I think you have a better point of negotiating with them.
Right.
If you say to them, look, we gave you $350 for years.
Right. But in the meantime, we gotta move forward. We gotta get the new
How
stuff.
much is my responsibility and how much is yours?
That's what I'm
Maybe
doing.
you split that.
We always try to dispute them, but it's hard though, because once you accepted it for so long, it's just like, well, then they pass the blame on.
They're eating the $15,000 install.
Right.
Why not?
Oh, they are?
50.
Yeah, remember
Yeah,
they
you're
said
getting
that.
$15,000
Oh, that is right.
install.
Yeah,
So, but then
You
that
get a quote for-
obligates us to them for how long?
5 years.
Do you need anything from us today, or do we have to wait till, we kinda got like a straw vote that we can move forward with this? Is that all you need, or do we need to do anything else?
I just need a vote to sign the proposal.
Well, we can't vote today, right, or we can? No. So it's like a straw poll that next week we'll,
Yes.
okay.
And I just have, now 3 informational items for you as I sit here and think about things. I don't know if she already spoke to council, but somehow she got my cell phone number, so she must have spoke to somebody. She lives at 1501 Poplar Street, and there's, I guess, a parking nightmare going on up there, that a neighbor owns 3 vehicles. A truck consistently is blocking her walkway, and up there, there's no sidewalk, so he's parking, I guess, directly in front of her property, blocking her main entrance into her house. She called asking, like, can we ticket the person? How can we enforce it? I sent Bobby up there to look, and he did witness the truck that never moved sitting there blocking her entrance.
Where's this at?
Poplar Street.
Popular.
Where's the
Yeah, it's
address?
up on-
Oh, it's not on this.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I'm looking. I'm looking, I'm like,
No,
what
what
is
is she
she
talking about? So Bobby mentioned possibly the easiest solution, because it's so close to the end of the street, is if we would put a no parking sign from the curb within the allotment of 15 feet or whatever that is.
Can we legally just do that?
Street department said it's not their call, it's the police call, and he said take it to council. So I don't know what to call this
Or
one.
take the mayor.
Yeah, so you tell me.
Well, I mean.
It'll solve the problem.
Like the car never goes anywhere?
No, it just sits there.
Is it
So like, do we vote on it, or how do we do it?
tax? Do we know if it has, I mean, is it legal?
Yeah, he owns 3 cars, and that one's always parked there.
So the mayor in Borough has the legal authority to implement any temporary traffic
Oh, okay.
restriction or device. And he can do that. We've done it. I think we've done it a couple times. I think just with an order, usually is directing the police and the public works department. So that could get you the short-term stuff, and then ultimately, it should come back to council at some point to update your traffic ordinance.
Okay.
If you're gonna add no parking for a certain stretch.
When you say device, what is
Like
it?
sign.
Sign.
Oh, so, okay, I'm sorry.
Sign.
So
stripes.
instead of having to come back, you wanna get in coordinates with it, like now, so we can try to figure it, is that okay, like?
Let's do it right. I mean-
Yeah, let's look at it, maybe we can look at it tomorrow.
Sure.
We'll look at it tomorrow, we can figure out, we'll bring it back to council next Tuesday, and we'll have a decision that we can make, so we don't have to keep
Although that is one that I might let you sneak into the codification if you, right, like,
Look at her being sneaky, Joe.
if you, I mean, on the legal
I
side,
mean,
you
it might
decide.
just be that there's already stuff
Yeah.
that's just not being done right up there.
Yeah.
And if
Do you want me to go over it with the guys tomorrow, or do you want me to give you a call or whatever? Alright, just give me the address and I'll,
Well, the first thing for you is to call me first.
stop it. Sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 11.
Yeah. Ain't that the-
Alright,
Oh, just,
elimination of the rental ordinance waiver.
wait, we didn't get that part.
Oh, sorry.
Because you triggered my brain when you asked me about Dayton Freight. So Dayton Freight and Frank Bryan did contact the office to begin submitting plans to us within the next week or so. And if you remember, Frank Bryan came to us last year
Yes.
asking for us to vacate a portion of Herbst Way.
Yes.
I asked Megan if that actually ever happened, and they did not respond to that letter, so.
We did everything on our end. They didn't do
I'm not
nothing.
sure what they're going to submit to us, but as soon as I get it, I will let Doug know,
So-
for the review.
I apologize, but so Megan, we are in good right
So
there.
we
Because
sent-
we did everything that we were asked to do, and they just didn't come back to us.
Or not yet.
So, but if they want to, it should be no issue, correct?
Yeah, we
Okay.
basically said you'll have to do some things. One of those things was to pay for the cost of
Yeah.
the street vacation, but also coordinate with
No.
Naira to design the rerouting of Hearst Alley, right? So it connects directly to Chartiers.
And they never done that?
They have not yet.
Not yet. And actually, we did give them your phone number saying, because they were asking questions that Kelly didn't know and I didn't want to put my blessing on. So I said, you can call our engineer and they will help you.
Yeah, we can recirculate that letter just so it's towards the top of everyone's inboxes, because we think they're getting frisky now, which is great.
Let's
You
make it
know,
happen. It's
I
the
know,
beginning of the
it's-
year, everyone wants to go.
I know, I mean, you could always make it, you want, I think ideally we were thinking that would happen on the front end before they came and did a lot, they can't do a lot of consolidation with a road, like straight down the middle of it, so we'll get there, yeah.
So yeah,
Dayton Freight, was that a little bit more cut and dry, like,
they just asked how many sets of plans we needed.
Okay.
And to submit.
All right, get the planning commission ready tomorrow.
let's go, yeah, we're ready to roll,
Stretch out.
ready to roll.
Start turning the bullpen.
That's awesome, get them tapping fees ready.
Yeah, done.
Go ahead, what else you got?
I'm done. Just the parking situation.
Well, don't you have anything under, oh, the solicitor has some stuff, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
I'll try to go fast. I know
Well,
that-
I got a question for Mayann. Did you apply to the government academy for summertime help? And you, they won't give you the help?
It's not announced if you get, so, we'll backtrack, sorry, Megan. So that was presented in November, I believe. And I went online to do the application, and it was a lot more detailed than I think we anticipated. I had to create a project for this potential intern to come in. It asked you all these questions, like what are you looking for? I developed a project for the Borough website, since that's something that we are looking into changing. Once I filled it all out, it just said like, thank you for your application. Programs that are chosen will be awarded on or after January 16th. And if the municipality is chosen to be a placement center, we would be notified.
But you did everything that was asked of it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
You know, one question about the traffic, the parking thing. You said it was your personal cell phone they called? So, what time, what day?
She's called me about 4 times so far.
Okay. Not to make a big deal or whatever, but please don't give out anybody's personal cell
Yeah,
phone.
how'd she get this up?
Please don't.
I don't know, I
He
answered, I
was,
think
he
it
was
was
obviously
like
giving out
someone
by
on the
somebody,
street
so
department or something.
please don't do that.
I don't know who it is.
It was like, is this LeeAnn? And I was like, yes.
We'll discuss it like a different, I don't want to bring her name up now, so yeah, we'll
So I
figure
don't
it
know,
out.
I'm not sure how she got that.
But that's gonna have to stop, yeah, we're gonna have to stop giving personal numbers out. Period. Go ahead.
Okay. What's the score first? You want to announce?
Stop it, you. Oh my God, but that was
I mean, I just, all right.
2218.
Thank you. All right, 2218 for anyone who's following. Elimination of the rental ordinance waiver. So right now in our rental registry ordinance, there's an option for landlords who currently don't have a unit rented to register in this different way. It's called a waiver. You pay $10 a unit if you have something sitting. I think the challenge is that, I mean, there's always different sides to look at this, but most of the time, the landlord forgets or chooses not to update us then when at some other point in time, right? Because like these registrations are once a year.
Right.
So, and the delta is $75, it's like
$80.
$80. So it's
$80.
$80 on that, on someone for that unit. Then you can certainly always chase someone, but then you have to have figured out that the unit has been filled. You have to send Bobby out to like figure all of that out and send notices and then take them and, and that's, so the thought that is coming from the administration or the request is a consideration to remove that portion of the ordinance. And so what we would look at, I think, is to require, take that out and then require that any, I think we still have to kind of land on the exact language, like any multi-unit structure, you have to register for all of them. And if it's and maybe there'll be some different language for a single unit. I think we have to have a way that people communicate if it's no longer a rental unit, but I still have to put my head to how to make that work best for you. But the step one is the elimination of the waiver piece, because it's not working. It's giving contact information.
And I just think that, so we're the one, we brought this up the other day, it was 86 waivers. That's $6,800 that we missed out on because all 86 of them never came back to us, never called us, never contacted us saying that they rented out. And we know that they were rented out. We just didn't have the time. So if we waived that, so if we waive that, I think it's a win for us, and I like where you're going. Like if it's like, say Ralph Gallagher wants to rent his house, we will know. So that's different than an apartment building.
Yeah.
So, but I think that we should waive it because they come down there anyway. Like the other day, we got one in from Church Avenue. It was 8 places. They paid for 3. And if you drive by, that whole place is full, and there's nothing we can really do about it because you can't. When can you go in and check it out? So I think we just eliminate it as of right now.
You own the property, you pay.
Yeah,
So
as of right now.
if it's a multifamily,
Yeah,
unless,
property you pay.
and there's appeal stuff already in the ordinance, I mean, some other process, if someone really wants to exert some sort of claim or right, I mean, there are ways to do it in the ordinance as it is, no one has ever done it, but there's due process built in, so.
Our surrounding areas, no one has a waiver. They put the waiver in here because we raised it to $80.
So with your permission, what we'll have on the agenda then for next week is a motion to authorize advertisement of an amendment to
Eliminate waiver.
Yes.
okay, so that's kind of the gist.
Thank you, Mayor,
of that.
very much for that, thank you.
Pension buyback study, there was a change in the law last year that allows, police officers who were part-time officers, sort of like, to buy back some of those years to pay for some of those years of service to get them to retirement a little bit faster in your pension system. So it's permitted by law, it's not required by law, it's kind of, it's maybe a cousin to like a drop pension. Plan is like, if anyone has run into those or some military buyback, sometimes those options are in pension ordinances. So there's been an interest expressed by one or more of your police officers for council to consider this. And I think there's some general interest in understanding if this is good or not. The first step, and it's required by that statute, is that you have to have the pension evaluated by Mock and Hop to do a study. And that will be what gives you on the finance committee and the personnel side the data that you need to understand what it would cost the borough, if anything. The study itself can be paid for or reimbursed by the police pension. And Mr. Beck has kind of come to us, I think, at times and said,
Oh, yeah, he's all about it.
right, like that cost
He was all about that today,
should
yeah.
be, so with your permission, because there's not a cost downside, it's just giving you data to evaluate the proposal, or whether you want to move forward with it. It would be my recommendation that you have an action item next week to authorize the pension study to be reimbursed or to be paid for by the police pension plan.
Absolutely.
Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And then last 2025 fee schedule change, building permits. All the above.
Yeah.
So this is the time of year that you do typically look at your fee schedule and just make sure that it aligns, one, to the budget that you've adopted and projected, and to any other like minor changes that you think is appropriate, and so you can communicate that early and often before all these awesome projects happen in the borough, whether with Dayton Parade and other places. Make sure that all the permits and everything are cleaned up and at the number that you want. So there are some recommendations, I believe, on the part of the administration to increase some of those. And so to the extent that they are in your fee schedule, I think that will be what you're looking at next week.
Thank you for your assistance on that as well. Really appreciate it. You helped us out a lot. She kept us in the ballpark. We were trying to jump a little bit too high, and she kept our feet cemented a little bit. So, thank you. No, I appreciate it. I mean, thank you very much. Anything else, guys?
Only point of information is quick. The folks at Action Housing have reached out to me. They want to. I think if you remember, council approved a resolution of support last year for one version of the project. They have since acquired, I think, an option on the Suds and Spuds property, and they want to go and take another stab at applying for whatever this big, they got a bunch of money from the state in order to do that project. It'll come to me, but they want to now incorporate this other lot too. So the good thing is, as they're kind of like feeling their way through, is that it will no longer, like their developing plans no longer affect the stairs. So there's no impact or movement of the stairs, because that seems like a pretty or building things over the existing stairs. And it also sounds like they're going to be able to shift it around and make it a little bit shorter. And so the Mary Street view shed, I think, which was one of several concerns I think raised by folks last year, can be better addressed. So that's That's all some good stuff, but they have these like preliminary zoning questions, because they'd have to go to the zoning, I think they still have to go back to the zoning hearing board, and I've told them that, on parking, because it's a brand new project, it's different parcels involved. They still, at least what they've said to me so far, is they commit to at least the same number of spots, which I think is a minimum of 26, I think is what was ultimately resolved. But the tricky thing with that site now, kind of taking that corner lot, is what is the front yard, what is the rear yard, what are the side yards? Because like there are literally there's roads on every floor. I mean, if you consider the stairs, there are 4 right-of-ways that are around like that parcel, and it's on like it's on a couple corners. So they asked me a couple preliminary questions, because they would have to run the gauntlet through the zoning hearing board really quickly, probably in January, early February, so that they could get a grant application in sometime in February, because if you remember, they have to have all their zoning approvals done. So I'm trying to I don't want to give too much, but I have to give them at least some sense of what our legal opinion is, so they know what variances to ask for. So the last one is, we do have language about corner lots and needing some distance on corners, and they had missed that, because I think initially they had the building going to the corner almost to the sidewalk.
So them acquiring this property is actually gonna help us. Like, so we got past all the issues that we had, so this would probably just be to help us out.
So I'm trying to find like the fair reading, and then also give them at least enough initial guidance to know whether or not, what they need to go to the front of the zoning hearing board and ask for on the front. So that's something that's happening. I want you to be aware of it. There's not anything for us to do necessarily at the council level. If they're successful and if there's a point in the future where they're funded, then they'll come see you for land development, final approvals, and some other things too, I'm sure.
I'm glad to see they're still interested.
So
Right?
that's- Yep.
It is what it is. Anybody have anything else? If you can, try to read as much as that codification if you can. If you got some time for it, but if not, we'll see you next Tuesday.